Johnny Murray here, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about Doom: The Dark Ages, one of my most anticipated games of the entire year, no doubt. I mean, if genuinely Ghost of Yotei was not releasing this year, which is the sequel to my favorite game of all time, Ghost of Tsushima, Doom would easily, and I mean easily, be my most anticipated game of the year, and I don't even think anything can even come close at this point, because everything this game is advertising, everything this game is and is setting up to be, is number one, exactly what I want for Doom, and number two, it just speaks to me. Everything about this game just speaks to me. We're gonna get into it. We got dragons, we got mechs, we got chainsaws, we got skull crushing minigun. It's awesome, and I can't wait to dive into it. We have a ton of details we're going to be talking about because there were preview events, as well as obviously the developer direct gave us a lot of info. And I know with all the news and with all the other announcements and things, it can be really confusing or just kind of get meshed in with other information. So I thought I'd do a video covering each of the games that were at the developer direct, and we're going to talk about them more in depth and give you my opinion and maybe run through and break some stuff down. But if you guys love video games, consider subscribing, sharing with your friends. I really do appreciate all the support you guys give me. Doesn't matter what you love. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, third-party PC, indie, VR, whatever it may be. We cover video games daily on this channel because we love video games, and I hope you guys love them as well. Thank you also for the support, especially the support on this video right here. But let's get talking about Doom: The Dark Ages. Now, let me just go ahead and start by saying, especially the Doom segment, I think what they covered during Doom: Dark Ages segment was fantastic. I think everything, all the questions they answered, all the things that they showed us were just kind of being like, okay, yeah, this is what I like. This is what I like. This is what I want to see. And I was super duper happy. So we did get a lot of information. But let me just give you my thoughts on what I saw. Number one, this is a game where ever since its original announcement, I've been overly hyped for it. It's never left my top 3 most anticipated games. It's kind of jumbled around between like Planet Coaster 2, which I know y'all gonna laugh at that, but it's kind of jumbled around between Planet Coaster 2 and Metroid Prime 4, and then Doom: The Dark Ages. Those have kind of been my top 3 for a while. Planet Coaster 2 is now gone, and Ghost of Yotei is announced, so that is now my number one. But Doom has never left my top 3 most anticipated games, and it's just for the simple fact that, number one, I love Doom 2016, and I love Doom Eternal. And with this, we're doing a prequel. They confirmed that this is a prequel game to Doom 2016 and Eternal, and in which case, it opens a lot of doors that I'm personally very, very interested in. One of them being the story, and that is something that they definitely put an emphasis on this time around, and I can't wait to talk about that a little bit later. But also, for me, I love medieval themed. I think medieval themed things are just so cool. Like, I just love the vibe. I love the aesthetics, everything about it. There's so many cool things you can do, like dragons and stuff like that. So I'm super duper happy that Doom is going to medieval because I feel like it fits perfectly, and just everything we've seen, it's just working. It's just working. But then also gameplay wise, it's Doom. It's gonna look crisp. It's gonna look so smooth. It's gonna look punchy. It's gonna look awesome. Visually, I think the game looks great. The music, even, I'm not sure if Mick Gordon is composing this one, which is a little bit of a bummer, but the music still sounded epic, which, I mean, to be honest, if the music ain't as good as the other 2 games, the game's just gonna be mid. I hate to say it, because the music low-key makes Doom in a way. I take that back. The whole game won't be mid just because if the music doesn't live up to Mick Gordon, but that's a big part, all right? But no, I think that this game just looks absolutely phenomenal. Everything we saw, to the giant mechs, to the dragons, excite me beyond belief, and I just cannot wait. And a matter of fact, I've already pre-ordered the collector's edition of the game. Like, literally the day afterwards, I pre-ordered that sucker because I was like, I am not missing out on this thing. Like, this collector's edition, number one, looks fire. We're gonna talk about that here in a second. But then also, I'm just so excited for this. And this is gonna be a moment I'm never gonna have again. You know, when a game releases, you only get one of those. Like, the game will never release again, so you better enjoy it to your fullest of capabilities. But let's get talking about Doom: The Dark Ages more in depth. So we're gonna go over some key things first, and then we're going to basically dive into what some people, or overall consensus during the previews event, look like. So Doom the Dark Ages, they use keywords. So this is something I found very interesting in the developer direct. They basically explained what the past 2 games were, what they were going for, and that way they compared it to this new game. They basically said that Doom 2016, the first one, they asked you to run and gun. Makes a lot of sense. Doom Eternal, they asked you to jump and shoot. Makes a lot of sense. And this time, they're saying this game is about standing and fighting. And I love that, because with Medieval, with how heavy this game feels and with how awesome it looks and with all the cool weapons and the melee, it really does feel like that. Just if they wouldn't even have told me that, that is just how I feel looking at the game. And I feel like they're nailing that feeling and nailing that goal to a T. You use the shield saw to block, parry, and shield throw contextually. So what that means is basically the shield is going to be a major part of this game, and I think that's really exciting, because that does open up more gameplay opportunity. I think this is probably going to be the biggest gameplay change in this game. I know we obviously have mechs and dragons and stuff like that. I know the amount of time I'm going to say mechs and dragon in this video is going to be kind of absurd. I'm going to let y'all know right now. Deal with it. It's mechs and dragons. It's awesome. But the shield really is going to add a lot, because you're adding parrying, which is like a gamer's favorite system apparently. Like, everybody loves parrying. I personally like perfect dodging more. That's just me. But we're adding parrying. We're adding blocking. We're adding shield throws. And we're adding like dashes where you can like lock onto enemy and then like shield bash them and stuff like that. But then the reason they say contextually is because you're going to use the shield in a lot of different ways to solve puzzles, to get to new areas. Like, for instance, they showed a little piece of you jumping off a bridge, throwing a shield, and then jumping up to the shield kind of type thing. I know it's a weird explanation, but that's exactly what it happened. But I think the shield is going to be a big change, and I from what I've seen so far, it seems like it's going to work to the benefit of the game. That's something, you know, a lot of games struggle with. They say, oh, what can we add to elevate gameplay, and then they add something that just really doesn't work for the game in a way, or just feels out of place, like they're trying to add too much because they didn't want it to seem like a repeat again. And for me, I think the shield is working on every level. I think the shield is really cool. You explore each level with the biggest play spaces ever seen in Doom. So this is interesting, and this is something that I had to actually like learn about while listening to podcasts and reading more in depth of all this information before doing this video, is that I was under the assumption that Doom the Dark Ages was just one big open zone, because in the trailers you really are just wandering around this big area, and it kind of all looks the same in some instances. But what it is this game is mission based in a way, so like there is no hub world, there is no open world. You do jump from mission to mission, but the catch is every mission is a big area, like a massive explorable area, and in that area is multiple different missions, multiple secrets, and multiple like collectibles. So each mission is its own fully explorable area, but it's not like, we're not talking open world. I guess you would say open zone, but they've also explained that it's not as big as an open zone. So I think this is going to be something that, you know, when we play, we'll be like, okay, I could explain how the maps and the missions work to somebody, but I think without having played it and without having experienced it, it's kind of hard to like just get an understanding of what the maps are going to be like. But yeah, for me, I think that's really cool, because I personally am not the biggest fan of open world. I like linear games way more, but I do love exploration to a certain extent. So I think if you are streamlining the game, however, while doing that, you get so much exploration, I think that's a winning formula, especially for Doom, when there is a lot of mobility and there is a lot of weapons to unlock and a lot of enemies to face and a lot of different cool things that you can include. I think that's going to work. And they did also say that with the exploration, you know, This is not just going to be like, oh, when you complete a level, you get a new weapon, and that's how you progress. No, like, you can actually find new weapons throughout all these areas. So I'm imagining it right now. You're going to see these TikToks of somebody finding this epic demon sword in just some random cave. And then everybody's going to go to that cave, and you're going to be able to wipe out hundreds of enemies with that demon sword now. So I think it's really cool is that exploration is another big part of what is going to make Doom the Dark Ages. And I think that's going to really pair well with another big focus of this game, and that is the story. Now, before we get to that, there is a couple more gameplay things I'm going to talk about. Number one, and this is where we're going to do it, you get to pilot a giant mech and a flying dragon. Now, the giant mech, this is a dream come true. I've wanted a game with, I've wanted a giant mech game just like forever. And I'm talking like first person, like you're in a mech, like Pacific Rim. If you've ever watched that movie, I've always had the dream of a Pacific Rim type game, and this is exactly what it is. I'm telling you, it looks exactly like Pacific Rim. They showed videos of you in this giant mech punching these massive kaiju looking creatures, and it looks awesome. Not only is it going to just be like, oh, there's these moments where you get a mech, or like this one big moment in the story where you get a mech. No, this is a reoccurring gameplay mechanic they have confirmed. You will be using this mech multiple times throughout the entire game, and I am so happy about that. I was really hoping it wasn't just gonna be like, oh, this is like the climax of like Act 1, you get into this giant mech. No, this is a reoccurring gameplay element, and I love that. As well as the giant mech will have its own abilities, will have its own weapons that you can unlock and customize. This is insane. This is absolutely insane, as well as the dragon. The dragon is going to be a source of traversal, as well as another combat element where you can hop in the dragon and fly around and shoot, kind of like Panzer Dragoon it looked like. And that's really cool, actually. It made me want a Panzer Dragoon game. But I think all this is really cool. For me, I'm definitely looking forward to that mech 100%, but I think it's all really cool. And then also, in terms of gameplay with Doomslayer, they showed 3 melee weapons: the flail, electric gauntlet, and mace. I'm sure there are more, but those are the 3 that they gave examples of and showed in the game. Now we get to the story, and this is, I know some people's criticism when it comes to the Doom games, which is a valid criticism because Doom is just not one for story. Like, it's never really been that franchise. But what is so exciting about Doom the Dark Ages is they have put a massive, and I mean massive, emphasis on the story. Throughout the entire Developer Direct, they had a whole category just dedicated to story. If you would have told me that there would be a Doom presentation and they would have like a third of the whole presentation about story, I would have thought you were capping. But here we are. Doom the Dark Ages is emphasizing story, and it is described right here, which I think this puts it as clearly as you need to see it. The story is a summer blockbuster. Sign me up. I'm ready, because Doom is awesome. It is sick. It is fun. It is energetic. It is hype as all ever. If you put a dope story, now I don't mean like, yo, make me cry over Doom guy. No, I mean, give me emotion where I feel tension, I feel stakes, I feel like what I'm doing is actually so important, and I really feel like the hero, not just an absolutely destructive like monster. All right, I think this is going to be a really big thing. Now, they showed cutscenes throughout the whole presentation, and from what I've seen, the cutscenes were kind of cooking. The cinematography was going crazy. The visuals were going crazy. Like, it was looking really, really good. And the fact that they did say that this is a prequel to Doom 2016, and that we are going to be exploring, you know, the Doom guy's origins. We are going to be exploring a lot of different character elements within him, as well as just a lot of world building on where we or how we got to Doom 2016 and Eternal. And I think that's just really, really exciting. I think this game really just has it all in a way. And we're gonna go to the preview event details. This is interesting. So this person said, and her name on X is Brittany Brombacher. So sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but she said, I attended a virtual preview event for Doom the Dark Ages. Here are my takeaways. Sandbox levels with emphasis on exploration and lots of secrets and treasures to find. That is those missions with those kind of open zone areas we were talking about. She said this is easily the largest Doom game with a massive campaign. That is also something that they've said. They've said that this campaign is bigger than any of the other campaigns, and it is more focused on, and I think that's a huge W. They already confirmed there is no multiplayer, which I think is a W. I was never into the Doom multiplayer in the first place. The campaign was always what I was into. So I'm really curious how long the campaign is going to be. I don't want it to be over 20. I think over 20 is kind of pushing it for a first-person shooter at times, unless this game really is just massive and it just never gets old and they keep on introducing new gameplay mechanics, which I can definitely see. I mean, you can make a whole third of the game just in that giant mech. I'm all for it, but you know, I don't know how that's gonna play out. But anyway, she said there is a new focus on narrative with heavy cutscenes. W. Players control the pace of the game, where we go, and who we fight. So that is also something I said, that each mission is kind of its own open area with multiple missions within them. You can go into that mission, but you don't instantly have to start doing the objectives and fighting bosses. You can go exploring and then do it. You can go fight some hordes of enemies and then go exploring. You can do the main stories and then explore afterward. Like, each mission is its own kind of like freedom of do whatever, and I think that's really, really cool. There are difficulty sliders to modify things like parry window, enemy aggression, days duration, damage, and etc. This is something that they showed in the developer direct, that there was a lot of sliders to modify the game settings, and I think that's really, really cool. And the shield saw can block, throw, parry, and deflect all from one button input. The Atlan Mech and Dragon have their own suite of abilities and mini bosses. So there you go. That is pretty much all the things we got. This game was confirmed to be out on May 15th. However, if you buy the collector's edition or the premium edition of the game, I did buy the collector's edition myself. The collector's edition is $200. The premium edition is $100. So if you buy the collector's edition, you're actually getting the $100 version of the game. And with the collector's edition, you get 2 days early access. So I'll be basically playing it on May 13th. And there is a 12-inch Doomslayer statue, which the Doomslayer statue looks awesome. I'm going to put a picture on screen so you guys can see what the collector's edition looks like. You do get a steelbook, you get a key card replica, and you get a bunch of digital content with the premium edition. I think everything in this collector's edition looks sick. The only thing they haven't showed is what does the box look like? Like, what does the outer box look like? Like, surely they're not just gonna send a statue with a steelbook. No, it's gonna all be in like a nice little box, like decorated for Doom. I'm curious what that box looks like. But yeah, you guys let me know. What are your thoughts on Doom? Is it one of your most anticipated games like me? Let me know. Is it one of your least anticipated games? Let me know. Like, I'm down to have a conversation about it. I'm so hyped for this game. I'm so ready for this game. I just want to talk about it every single day. Let me know. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you in the next one. Johnny Morales. Peace.